Greetings to all of our adventurers out there. This is an episode of The Surly Nerd covering everything and anything that was E3. I'm your host, James, and today, instead of having my co-host, Tony, I've got a very, very special guest. Sir, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi there. Oh, you want more than that?
Yeah, probably. They probably want to know who you are.
My name is Cary, and I'm an alcoholic. No, actually,
Wrong
uh,
meeting.
wrong meeting. Damn. My name is Cary, and I am the host and founder of MSRcast and the Metal Geeks podcast, along with my co-host, John Michael. You can find us at www.metalgeeks.net. Like a
All
pro,
right.
sir, like a pro.
Like a pro. Welcome to the show, sir. I'm glad to have you on here with us.
Thank you for having me.
So, we are pretty much balls deep into E3 right now,
I was going to say the exact same thing. I was going to say balls deep.
but we are past the primaries here, which was, of course, Monday was the big two, Sony and Microsoft going head to head, and we have a lot to kind of cover here. So I just want to kind of jump right into it,
Do
beginning
it.
with how we started the day, and that was with Microsoft's press conference. Now, before we go into details real quick, Cary, what were some of your impressions just kind of watching it?
I think Microsoft knocked it out of the park. I just did an episode of Altness where we talked about all the three main press conferences, and we talked about all three of them: Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony.
Hmm.
And Microsoft, they came out and they said, "Hey, we're about the video games tonight. We're going to show you some games," and that's exactly what they did.
Right. And I think that was a very it was very important for Microsoft to do that. I mean, we were in this kind of situation last year where everything, and of course the internet's joked about it, but it was TV this and apps this, and these
Right.
are all quintessential parts of what makes the Xbox One. Um, but them kind of coming in and saying like this year is going to be all about games. This is for the gamers. This is what you've been wanting. I think it's a very strong thing to do, and I don't actually hold it against them that last year they wanted to show off all these other additional features. I mean, when you're trying to promote a new console, you want to show it the new, things that it can do that are different than the last one. We assume they're all going to play games.
They were trying to cater to a different audience last year, and now they're trying to cater to the hardcore gamers.
Exactly. And so, going right into it, we didn't hear about anything Connect related. We didn't hear about. They kind of vaguely talked about the price drop and the Connect being separated from it. But really, it was like you said, just boom, let's go into games and just kind of do that. Now, from my perspective, as I was watching the whole thing, I did feel that their press conference started a little bit slow and built up momentum as it was going. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that the first like 10 minutes of it was kind of going, as
Call
somebody
of
who's,
Duty? Do we need
as
more
somebody
Call
who,
of Duty?
yeah, well, I've been so on the fence about buying. I've been as somebody who has to make my choice right now as to which console I'm going to own. I'll eventually own all of them, but I'm getting ready to make my first purchase into that market. I'm trying to decide between the two, and I felt like the first, 10, 15 minutes of the Microsoft press conference didn't really sell me on this is the reasons that you want to buy the system. More, if you like these games previously, here's some new incarnations of them.
Right. So, what after seeing the different press conferences and the different games coming out, have you come to a decision of which ones you're going to buy?
I really think so, and right now, I honestly I do want both, which is more than I could have said coming out of E3 last year. Last year, I was just kind of, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how necessarily I want to handle it. But coming out of this year, I have been saying that I actually do want both. I just feel that my leaning is going more in the PlayStation direction, only because PlayStation seems to have more titles available currently that I want to get my hands on. That
Right.
being said, come November, I'm going to want that Halo collection.
The Halo collection is pretty sweet.
Right. So let's kind of jump into a little bit of that real quick. So starting off the Microsoft panel, it was an explosion. Everybody was kind of going nuts for it. They had a lot of things they were really kind of anticipating. The fans were wanting to see more out of Microsoft than we had gotten last year. We were given a lot of, here's the TV this, here's the show this. Now they're like full blown balls to the wall, here's games. And the first thing that I saw that I fell in love with was Sunset Overdrive.
Okay, I am going to be piloting the hype wagon on this one because I'm on board.
Yeah, like
I'm I'm so ready for this game.
yeah, I saw the trailer for it and I'm like, it's Borderlands, it's silly, it's fun. And honestly, as gamers, what else can we say other than it's fun? And everything about this game looks amazing and fun.
You number
And
one, you can grind on roller coasters
yes,
and kill mutants, and I'm sold. I'm ready. Here's my
yeah,
money. Take it.
yeah, everything about Sunset Overdrive is everything that I want in a game because it's just so fun, it's over the top. It's a Suda 51 game without being a Suda 51 game. Um,
If it's a Suda 51 game, if you can make a good game.
Though that's very true. Now, I am actually a fan of Suda 51, but I realize that he is the Tarantino of video game making.
I never thought about that comparison, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, when you really think about it, he's basically the Tarantino of video game making.
Hmm. Okay,
And so that was
that's
the first one that it really kind of hit home with me. And I said, all right, here's a game that you introduce it to me, say it's an Xbox exclusive. This is a system seller for me. Now give me more. Come on, Microsoft. You've given me one good reason. You know, Call of Duty isn't a reason for me. Give me another one.
no Halo.
And and Halo. Halo was the next one on the list that I looked at and said, "Holy shit." And so I was a bit worried at first because we had heard rumors that this was going to be happening for a while. All of us who are media guys were like, okay, we know that this collection is going to be
Yeah,
happening, but is this going to be just another, we're just going to reissue it and call it a day, or what are they going to do with it? And when they came out and said, so it's all the games, all the maps, okay, we expect that. But then they said, this is also going to start tying into 5. We're going to be releasing new content that's going to be going into 5. Things that you could only get in this collection. That's when I stopped and said, okay, wait a second. You guys are doing something right.
this has the Ridley Scott Halo videos that he's movies that he's doing too. I
Oh,
mean,
really?
yes. Um, okay, so some of the Halo 2, Halo 1, those games are turned off. You cannot play those online anymore.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
So this is a dream come true for a lot of Halo fans. It's all 100 multiplayer maps that they ever created.
Hmm.
It's the full games remastered. I mean, for $60, it's a pretty damn good deal.
And they went heavily into, hey, this is Halo 2 specifically. And for a lot of our audience who may not know about this, Halo 2 is kind of widely regarded as the quintessential multiplayer experience when it comes to Halo.
We used to
Um,
hang out and play Halo 2 back in the day. We used to get
all the
like
time.
a bunch of Xboxes together, a bunch of like big ass heavy TVs, and put them in a apartment together. And
Yeah, and it is thought as the best of the best. And
yep,
to the point where when Microsoft was turning off their Xbox servers, like Halo 2 was the last thing to go.
right.
Like there are people who actually have badges that nobody else can ever earn on the Xbox Marketplace because they were the last people to be playing Halo 2 as they shut off the servers.
And this game is going to have dedicated servers for just the multiplayer, which is great
Yes. I
because
think it's very, very important.
they know there's going to be a lot of people playing it.
Yeah, and the fact that you can kind of adjust your experience for Halo based on which version you want to play. So if you want to play Halo 4 multiplayer, Halo 3 multiplayer, also the fact that you can just kind of, and this is really dangerous actually, I thought about this. Um, you can just basically play through the storyline from one end to the other without stopping.
I
And
didn't read that part. That's actually pretty cool.
yeah, and like as far as my friends go, like we're those people that we pick up a Halo game the first day, put it on Legendary, and we go through it start to finish. That's
It's
maybe
going to be a fun night.
maybe calling off for the weekend at that point.
Yeah, I'm sick. I can't come into work tonight. I'm
Hmm.
playing Halo.
Exactly. But like I said, it's very important that when you issue a re-release that it's very concise. It gives you more than the initial experience, and I think that that's what Microsoft is giving us. They're giving us all these optional features, all these things that we didn't actually ask for, but we want.
It's fan service,
Um,
is what it is. I mean,
it is.
they're giving their fans what they want without them really knowing what they wanted.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that it's very, very important for them to kind of keep going down that road. And more importantly, I did find out just earlier that this game's going to retail at $60.
Yep,
I mean, that is right there. That's the value.
because they did like anniversary editions of like Halo 1 and Halo 2 before, and
Yeah,
they were $40 out the gate.
yeah.
So, the new hotness, the Xbox One version, $60 for all four games,
Hmm.
and there's plenty of other Halo games waiting in the wings, like Halo ODST, and they got Halo Reach ready to
That
go.
was one of the only disappointing things that we actually didn't get Reach or
Mhm.
ODST with this. But they did say specifically this is the Master Chief
Right,
games, so
exactly. I mean, those games are different characters, so you know they're gonna eventually wind up re-releasing them.
yeah,
Why
I'm
not?
the asshole that really loves ODST. I mean, I realize I'm the minority, but that's my favorite Halo game, so I would love for them to remaster that and kind of come back to it.
So there's gonna be another collection. Was that one Halo Reach, and then probably Halo Wars all together?
Here's hoping, because I'm a big fan of Halo Wars, and a lot of
I am
people
too.
didn't
It's
didn't
better
really
than
like
that
it.
god awful new one that just came out, but whatever.
Yeah. All right, so next up on the Microsoft list, and I really wanted to dive just a little bit into this, and this was the new Fables game or the new Fable game. Like this is a game that I'm a big fan of the Fable series. I played 1 through 3. I played the pub games when they came out. I just really happen to have a special place in my heart for it. And I saw the trailer for this one. Of course, Molyneux's not working on it anymore, but all I could think while I was watching the trailer for this game was this is Dungeons and Dragons for people who are afraid to say that they play Dungeons and Dragons.
It definitely looks like it. It's not. It doesn't really even look like a Fables game anymore.
Right. And the fact that the fifth player, quote unquote, is a person who places the enemies, places the dungeon. I'm like, that's a dungeon master. This is literally a game for people who are afraid to say that they play Dungeons and Dragons.
This game would definitely work on the Wii U with the master, like you said, the dungeon master controlling everything on the Wii the gamepad. You know.
Right. I completely agree. Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I'm not saying that I'm not disappointed by it. I think that it's going to be an amazing, very like thorough experience when it comes to Fable.
Hmm.
But my impression of Fable, like in my mind, it is very much a solitary experience. I mean, it's me playing or like one of my friends jumping in. And I realize by rebranding it as Fable Legends, we are kind of doing a departure. This is saying it's not part of the main. They're not calling it Fable 5 and then making it a four-player experience. Like this is
Right.
the Halo Wars essentially of Fable. Um, and I'm excited to see where it would go, especially because this seems to be the year of content creation by players. Like we experienced this before, and I know we're going to touch on Sony a little bit later, but several games that have been talked about this year were all user-driven content.
There's a Nintendo Mario game coming out just like that too.
Yeah, I actually just read about that before we got into the chat about this, and I was like, "Holy crap, that's really amazing."
That is pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, user created content is it's a way for these companies to really extend the life of the game. It
Hmm.
builds communities and it builds because the biggest fear I think these game companies have is people trading in their games.
You're right.
They don't because then they can't push out more DLC. They can't push out stuff for you to buy extra on it, and
Hmm.
they don't want you to trade your game in. So anything they can do to keep that game on your shelf and in your system, they're definitely going to go for it.
Yeah, definitely. And that turnaround time for when somebody buys a game to selling it back can be very short nowadays, especially because GameStop places like GameStop offer incentives for that turnaround. So
Right.
if I went and bought Infamous Second Son, they will give me almost matching price, not quite, but almost matching
Pretty
price
close.
in that first week.
And when that game's only 6 hours long, 5 hours long, it's easy to play through it, and there's no incentive to keep it. I'm just gonna trade that
Exactly.
shit in. Get the next big game that I want to play.
Yeah, it's the next fix, the next fix, the next fix. So
The drug, it
next,
really is.
yeah, it is. So the next game that I wanted to bring up, and I felt like this was almost a theme for E3 this year, was a game called Scalebound. And
This is one I never saw.
yeah, this is a new IP, which I'm so excited for because new IPs they get me excited. Like I love seeing our traditional stuff. Like I like seeing Dead Rising and their new expansion that they put out for that. That was cool.
Oh God,
Um,
that game is, yeah.
the fact that Capcom can make fun of themselves, when they're doing their DLC content, it's amazing. But here is a game. Scalebound is a game that we know nothing about. It's a new IP. It's doing its own thing. It's based, as far as we can tell, in previous works. So when I was watching the trailer for this game, the first impression that I got was it's Devil May Cry meets Monster Hunter.
Hmm.
It's a
Okay.
very so the main character is very heavily stylized. He's modern. He has an attitude, like he carries around headphones. But his contrast is that the things that he is fighting, instead of being demons, are giant monsters with big HP bars that he has to like think strategically about and jump around, and it just very much felt like a combination between those two games to me.
And then he does have a bow and arrow there.
Yes, he does.
Because that's pretty trendy right now.
Yeah, bows and arrows are super super trendy, so that makes me kind of happy actually because I go out to the archery range every week, so I guess I'm
Right
kind of
on.
trendy. But yeah, it was just one of those things that I watched it and I thought that it was really cool concept. It being super stylized like that. But it seems like this Monster Hunter trend is becoming more popular because almost every game that or every other game that we're seeing coming out of E3 is a pseudo multiplayer experience, requires several members of your team to take down a boss, and it has very key points in how like each member of the team operates, which
Exactly.
at its core is Monster Hunter. So
I'm not a Monster Hunter fan. I've never really
mhm.
actually played the game, but I definitely see the appeal in those type of games.
So as somebody who is speaking from the Monster Hunter fan base, I actually wasn't when it first came out. Back in the PS2 era, I think it was.
Hmm.
The first one came out over here in America, and of course, nobody liked it over here. I played it for 10 minutes, and I was like, "Fuck this fucking game! It's so bad. I don't even want to deal with this fucking game."
Right.
And when I got my PSP, my coworker got one as well, and he picked up a copy, bought me a copy, and his agreement to me was this: all right, play this game with me for let's say a couple hours. And if you don't like it after a couple hours, here's a receipt. You can go turn the game in and the receipt in and go buy whatever game you want. I mean, that's a win-win, right?
Right. Yeah. Totally.
And him and I sat down. We played for about 4 to 6 hours, and I realized that that's where the magic of Monster Hunter is. If you're playing Monster Hunter by yourself, you're doing it wrong.
Hmm.
But once you actually get other people involved and learning how the traps work and how the weapons work, it's exciting. It's fun, and I think that Monster Hunter only in the last like couple incarnations has become popular here in America, whereas obviously in Japan it's a huge deal.
It's a system seller in Japan.
Oh yeah,
It's
definitely.
crazy how popular it is, but
Hmm. But yeah, like I said, more and more of the games that are coming out right now are almost kind of banking on this Monster Hunter esque idea because we had this one, we had The Witcher 3 that came out, and while it's not a Monster Hunter game, um,
close.
the premise like when so I've played the first Witcher game and I'm about ready to start the second one, but when I watched the trailer for the third one, the entire trailer was all right. Geralt grabs traps, he places traps in areas, he tries to lure the beast in. It's a single player Monster Hunter experience.
Right.
That's all it is. And it's not a bad thing. I think that it's actually really cool because it creates a very interesting boss dynamic. Because one of the things that Monster Hunter has going for it is that each of the different types of monsters that you are hunting has a personality. And so you have to know how it works and know how it walks and know how it does things.
Okay.
And so that kind of AI aesthetic really works well with these upcoming titles like The Witcher. I just think that it's funny because, you know, 8 years ago we were all laughing at Monster Hunter, and now here we are 8 years later going, wow, Monster Hunter is pretty much in every game that we're trying to, make at this point.
Yeah, people find things that works in one game, and that's the new standard now.
Yeah, very, very true. And it wasn't just Monster Hunter kind of style of games that Microsoft had going on for it, though. We had some really great original looking titles. Like one of my favorites that I saw was Ori and the Blind Forest. And from the moment I saw the trailer for this, the first thought in my head was, I'm looking at a Miyazaki film. It was beautiful. It was, the music was gorgeous. It was one of those indie-esque games that I looked at it and said, "Holy shit!"
Hmm. This is another title that I did not actually pay attention to.
Yeah, I was very, very surprised at how gorgeous it looked, and it's something that I think that you should probably look at the trailer for it if you haven't seen it, because if you enjoy Miyazaki films, because I do, holy shit! Like I was watching this, going, "Wait, this wasn't made by him?"
I'm just reading an interview with the guy that created the game, and he said I grew up playing Super Metroid. You have me right there, sir.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have me right. That's
It,
it.
se- it
I'm
seems like
sold.
Super Metroid meets Miyazaki is what they're going with.
Okay, I can deal with that. I'm on board.
I was gonna say that's two things that I love.
Yeah. Give me a Metroidvania game, and I'm a happy guy.
I am, yeah, a huge fan, and I'm very surprised that we haven't been seeing more of those. Like Shadow Complex was the last one that I played that I really, really enjoyed.
There was I think was it, I can't think of the name of it. It was on the Xbox 360, and it was a really really good. It was made like a one man team. I can't think of the name of the game
Was
right
it a
now.
downloadable title?
It was a downloadable game.
You're thinking of Shadow Complex.
No, no, no. After Shadow Complex, it had very
Really?
bright. I'm gonna have to look that up and get back to you on that
Okay.
because it's definitely worth playing. But
Hmm.
have you played Guacamelee?
Oh, I love Guacamelee.
Okay, that's
I'm a
very much in
huge
that.
fan of Guacamelee.
Oh yeah, and
I
they're working on
loved,
a sequel.
yeah, that was like one of those like sleeper hits for me. Like I heard really good things about it, and then I played it, and I was just like, holy shit! Yes, they actually do totally get the genre, can make fun of the genre, and also like pull. There's a bunch of like Sony references in the entire thing, like Journey references.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. Let's see. So that was a lot of the main first party stuff that was going on with the Microsoft conference. We also got to see some of the third party stuff, which I was very, very excited for. And honestly, the first one that piqued my interest was Tomb Raider.
Yes, I
I
loved the last Tomb Raider game that came out.
It was so good. It
I
was.
played it. I played it again when they re-released it.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah. Oh
I've
yeah.
always been wondering how the re-release actually was. So.
It looked beautiful. The game is perfectly the same, but
Mhm.
it looks really really nice.
I was watching the trailer for this game with Herb talking to the psychiatrist, and
Hmm.
the first thing that I thought to myself was, wasn't the first game dark enough?
Right.
Like, I realize that we are a fan of dark genre games, but I'm watching her talk to her therapist, and I'm going, isn't she already fucked in the head enough as it is?
and they keep on, they go back to all these, she's back on another island fighting
Yeah.
people. It's like, okay, we need you to face your fears. We're going to send you back to another island.
Hmm.
It's okay. Before we go away, the name of the game I'm thinking about is called Dust: An Elysian Tale.
Oh, that's one of the ones that I've been wanting to play, actually.
Beautiful game, beautiful,
Yeah,
wonderful
I'd heard
game.
really good things about that.
Yes. Okay, back to
So,
Tomb Raider, where it's just not beautiful and very dark. Dark and
So,
beautiful.
so we're both older gamers. We remember Lara Croft in the very beginning of the time when it was just big titty Lara Croft going around firing guns.
Basically, yeah. There's a. Oh wait a minute, there's a dinosaur here. Why is there a dinosaur?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we've
Very
reached,
very low poly res.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
But now we've hit Tomb Raider, and I was skeptical about the new Tomb Raider when I first saw it. Like, uh, one of our friends actually bought the copy for me and said, "Look, I'm buying this for you because you've been insulting it so much. I really want you to give it a chance."
Are you a fan of
And
the Uncharted games?
so, funny enough, I only started playing Uncharted in the last 2 years,
Oh.
or a year and a half. So I'm through Uncharted 1 completely. I'm at the beginning of Uncharted 2, and I'm loving it.
Oh yeah.
So I
Uncharted.
played I played the original Tomb Raider, and I loved it. Like when I was growing up, the original Tomb Raider, I loved that shit.
Well, that's what we
Um,
that's what we knew back in the day.
yeah, but
These
then
these kids and their fancy levels and graphics.
yeah, just wander around, and have some fun. And actually, the last Tomb Raider game I really enjoyed was Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light.
Yep.
Yeah, really loved that game. And yeah, so one of our mutual friends said, "Hey, look, just don't stop giving Tomb Raider shit. Give this game a go." Hand me a copy, and I played it, and I was just like, "Holy shit, it actually is that good." Like I was very surprised. I mean, like Laura has depth. There's character. There's fucking pathos
It,
to
it,
her.
it's better written than most movies out there.
Yeah, I
Same with
was.
Uncharted, and that's what makes those games so great is because you're playing a movie. You get
Yeah.
involved in the characters. I mean, like you said, there's emotion. They are really an amazing experience, and that's where Tomb Raider took it up a level from Uncharted.
Hmm.
They took the same gameplay style and the stylistic movie style game, and they took it up another level. So I'm really excited to see where the next Uncharted will go from here.
Yeah, we're gonna touch on that here in just a little bit. Running back to Tomb Raider, I was very, very surprised because, of course, as somebody who beat the Tomb Raider, the most recent version of Tomb Raider, it kind of left off with a we're going to a different place and we're going to go ahead and just jump right into the next adventure. And the
It
idea that the developers said we're going to dial it back and have her kind of recover from all the fucked up things that she
mhm.
went through, like it was a good choice. And I don't want to say that it was influenced by the show Arrow, but I kind of feel that the two of them are working in tandem together.
There is a comic book series you need to read. It's actually Tomb Raider. It's written by comic book writer Gail Simone. She
Okay.
does a wonderful take, and it takes place right after the last Tomb Raider video game. So
Mhm.
it features some of the same characters, and I mean, it's like the next day in Tomb Raider. That's what the comic book series picks up from.
Okay.
It's really, really, really good.
I might have to give that a shot then. Let's see here. Also on the Microsoft side of things, I mean, aside from that, so let's continue running down the other games that I took an interest in. Honestly, they did show so many games that I was very, very excited about that. One of the ones that I thought was interesting was a game called Evolve.
Right. It's made
It,
by the Left 4 Dead team.
yeah, and so it's made by the Left 4 Dead team, but it has like a Team Fortress style aesthetic to it, I guess.
Definitely.
It's very, very kind of over the top, very silly looking. Um, all the monsters are huge. You're running around. There's a lot of jetpacks. Jetpacks are apparently very important in the future.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, but everything that I saw about this, again, like I said earlier about Sunset Overdrive, it's a game that says fun. And I love that. I love that I was watching the trailer for this, and my only opinion was, I'm going to have fun with this game.
Ultimately, that's what it is. Video games should be fun. It doesn't matter what the graphics look like.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter any of that. Oh, how many frames per second it can do, and blah blah blah.
Right.
Are you having fun playing this game? If yes, that's the ultimate reason to play it. That's all that
Mhm.
matters.
Yeah, I completely agree. But there were some experiences that I've had, like Journey,
Hmm.
where I bought it after I'd read reviews on it. They said this is a very artsy game. So it's a game that you can kind of sit down and play in like 3 or 4 hours. You'll have an emotional experience with it. and it was still fun, but that wasn't my. When I saw the trailer for it, I was like, okay, I can't tell you why this game would be fun. Like Flower, like I can't tell you why Flower would be fun. And then I got to play it, and I was like, oh, it is fun, but it is an artsy game. It does
Right.
explore these additional concepts. So one of the other things that we did get to see, one of the final things we really get to see coming out of Microsoft this year was, well, again, a third-party game, but here it is in all its glory, and that's Dragon Age Inquisition.
Every time I hear that name now, I think of the scene from History of the World, the
Oh,
Inquisition.
yes.
The Inquisition. Well, let's sing it.
And I was actually only brought on to the Dragon Age boat in the last like 3 to 6 months.
So you're FOB?
Yeah, I just started. I picked it. I had it on Steam. I played Origins. It was a lot of fun. I very much enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to what this game is going to give us. But having watched the trailer, I hate to say it
Mm-hmm.
again, but it's another Monster Hunter trailer where it was
Yeah.
4 players taking down a dragon. Hey guys, here's how to take down a dragon as a group. And I was like, and this is what Monster Hunter looks like. Good job, guys.
But yeah, I mean, Dragon Age 2 wasn't that great of a game. Part 1 was a lot of fun.
Okay, so I played Origins and I beat Origins, but I've been told that 2 gets a bit rough.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was rushed is what it was. It was like, oh, we need to put a sequel out like right now. Let's do it.
By BioWare, this is sounding like Knights of the Old Republic 2 all over again.
No way, that will never happen.
But no, I'm looking at the stills, looking at everything. Co-op is a really big deal for Microsoft this year. We saw a lot of, not only are we games for the gamers, but we are games for the gamers and their friends.
It's yeah, the hopefully a lot of these games are going to be online too, like single player experiences with multiplayer features.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that needs to be the new trend, you know what I mean?
I think that's kind of the age that we're coming up on, and I think that's one of the things that Sony really brought to the table this year. I mean, so overall, before we move past this, your
Mhm.
final kind of thoughts on how Microsoft changed from last year to this year. So last year, they were very hardware focused, software focused, in the idea of the changes they could make as far as quintessential changes to the industry to where they are now.
Well, last year was all about here's the apps that we're going to have, and here's you can do this with your TV, and you can do this. It was all about the your media that you could run through your system. Now, okay, everybody has the system now. Let's talk about the games. So, and I think the first year they really haven't had a lot of games out there. But it
Right.
takes a while for that to really pick up with any new system.
Yeah, but well, definitely. We all know in the first year of the console generation, we don't know. There's like, what, 2, 3 good games?
I would give more than that, but it always takes a while for these programmers to really get the feel for a brand new system. It takes a year or so for the great game to start coming out. And I don't feel bad for being an early adopter. I own all 3 of the new systems,
Really?
and I do. And I just picked up I just somehow got a Wii U recently. That's not even wasn't even planning on it, but now that I have it, I'm enjoying it.
So before we go on, like, what were your first impressions playing all 3 of them?
Well, we play I'll tell you, we play the Xbox One more than anything else because we have our TV running through it, so it's
Okay.
always on. But like I was always with PlayStation, the PlayStation exclusives are where it's at. You cannot. It's definitely worth owning a PS4 for just the exclusive game that will be coming out and that are out already.
Did you feel the library was better on the PS4 or the Xbox One?
It's probably pretty comparable right now. There's not that one killer title that they were hoping for. Infamous is pretty good. It's not amazing. A lot of the games that people were hoping that were going to be like the AAA killer title Killzone was not one of them. It's okay, but even on the Xbox One, there's not that. Titanfall fell pretty flat. I already traded
Really?
mine in. Yeah,
I was super excited for Titanfall.
it's fun. You don't get me wrong, but I don't see the longevity in it without
I'm
a
a
single
big
player.
mech guy, though. I love big mech games.
Yeah,
So, but
you
I've also
probably
been told because I'm a big mech guy, I probably won't enjoy it because you can only be a big mech for like 5 minutes.
that's correct. Unless you're really good, you can make it last 6 minutes, but you know how that goes. I mean,
Oh,
if you buy an Xbox One, sir, you definitely need to pick up Titanfall.
okay.
But it's not for
Okay.
everybody. It's a cross between it's a mech game mixed with Halo.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that sounds like fun. Like at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Um,
played a lot of Mech Warrior or Mech Assault
I
back when that was
personally
popular.
think the best game on the Xbox One is still Dead Rising 3.
Yeah.
I put so many hours into that game, and I'm still putting time
See,
into it now
that's
with
one of
the
those
new
system sellers
DLC.
for me. Like that and Halo, those are system sellers for me.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of things that Microsoft announced this year that I was like, oh yeah, these are system sellers, um, but not all of them. And
Right.
so I don't know. I'm kind of going back and forth on it. Again, I want to own all the systems. It's just a matter of which one do I want to invest in first, essentially.
And that's the big question is what game is coming out before that you really want you have to play because you there's always going to be like the Watch Dogs and the new Wolfenstein that kind of stuff.
I've heard that is amazing, by the way.
Yes, and they're all multi-platform, so it doesn't really matter which system you buy it on.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if the PS4 has 8 more Ps than the Xbox One has. All that as long
I
as
also have 8 more Ps than most
I think you do. That's true. I've heard that about you. But you hear that argument. Oh, the PS4 has more better performance. Blah blah blah. It doesn't matter.
hmm
Buy the system you want. Buy the games that you want, and be happy.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I mean, I'm not one of those people that's a fanboy for either department. I think that you should always weigh your decision based on what you like. If you're a Halo player, then fuck it, buy the Xbox. That's what you're going to spend. If you're going to be spending $60 on a Halo game,
Hmm.
but you're going to drop 100 and a billion hours into that, as opposed to buying a PS4 and dropping 10 hours into playing whatever PS4 game like Killzone.
Right.
Obviously, the value exists in owning an Xbox at that point.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So let's jump into
Go with your heart.
yeah, exactly. So let's jump into the PS4 side of things,
Yay.
and I'm super excited about this because they did so much, and I have so much to say about it. Of course, they started off their entire thing with Destiny. This is Bungie. This is the people who brought us Halo, and I was glad they actually made it as short as they did because we'd already heard a lot about Destiny up until this point. We already knew that it was this Borderlands style Halo game,
Hmm.
but the reason I think they wanted to intro with it was because not only because it was about to come out, but also because it began their gamut of PlayStation only this, PlayStation only that, which was the theme of their entire conference.
Oh yeah.
And you've got to
It.
give it to them. That's what they were going with, and it worked so perfectly for them. I mean, they jumped right in there with Destiny, saying, "Hey, we've got this game, and yeah, it can be played on other platforms.
But we have it first. We
Yeah,
have
we've
it
got it
better.
first. Additional DLC. That was
Hmm.
a thing. I mean, the idea that they were going to be getting any additional DLC first. The fact there was going to be DLC only for the PS4. These were common threads that wove throughout the entire argument that Sony had going on.
My only problem with the Sony press conference before we move on to some of the games, number one,
Mhm.
it was too long. The writing was really, really bad.
Okay.
And there was a lot of technical audio problems. Like you had people come out on stage and their mics weren't turned up in the sound booth. Like
Okay.
that's pretty laughable. You know what I mean?
So I'll counter argument with your last thing there, saying we both run audio video shows, and sometimes
Correct.
technical problems happen.
Oh yeah, that's true. Definitely.
They could not have anticipated that. As for running long, I understand they didn't run longer than Microsoft conference. However, they did present new pieces of hardware. They focused primarily 90% on the games,
Mhm.
with the other 10% being devoted to hardware that they did not have really time for. I mean, so let's talk about the two pieces of hardware real quick, and I'm jumping ahead of my own notes here. Um, that they were going to talk about. And so the first one was Project Morpheus. They talked about Project Morpheus in a very little capacity, other than, hey, we are entering the world of VR.
Mhm.
Sony's heading this up. Here's what it looks like. We look forward to working with this project in the future, and we hope you like it.
Pretty much. That they didn't really go any further than that.
They didn't need to, though. And then the second piece they talked about was Sony TV, which is known in Japan as the Vita TV, I believe.
Yeah, it's gonna be with PlayStation TV here.
Yeah. And so some of the key points that we got about this was, of course, the exact same thing we've been talking about on our respective shows for so long. It's going to play Vita games. It's going to remote control games, so you can actually play. So you can own one PS4, from what I understand, and
Mhm.
if I'm in my bedroom, I can remote play my PS4 games without having another PS4 in my bedroom.
I've heard that. Yeah, if you have your PlayStation TV hooked up to another TV, you can stream your games.
Exactly. Now that's a huge fucking deal because I mean, uh, Tony and I live in the same household, and of course we have our own separate Xboxes, our own consoles. The idea that you can actually just have a centralized console and stream games from it is amazing to me.
Mhm. That is
Um,
that is pretty cool.
and the fact that they talked a lot about the number of games that will be available day one launch for this.
And
It
you know what
wasn't.
else? It's probably gonna have Netflix on there because I need one more device in my house that plays Netflix.
Oh, of course, like my toaster can basically play Netflix at this point. Um, but no, I love the idea that they really are jumping into this market of their cloud service essentially, which is funny enough. A lot of this technology that they've been showing off actually is based in the cloud.
Mhm.
Although notice this year, nobody used that fucking word.
Right, yeah, cloud is not the word of the year.
Oh
And
my god.
it's okay, so let's talk about the PlayStation now.
Yeah.
The beta just came out for the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
I might know somebody personally that's in the beta and that's actually used it,
Okay.
but is under NDA and they can't really say too much about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it might work.
His name is Bob,
His name is Bob.
and Bob
Bob
says this works.
Bob is a really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And yeah, Bob says it works. He's had a little bit of problems with the connection sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but it's pretty cool. And here's
Okay.
the thing: it's that thing is only going to work because like they're saying that the game rentals can run from like $3 to $20. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if here's a question I'm posing to you: if the same game like Dragon Age Inquisition comes out the same day, you can go buy it in the store, or you can rent it on PlayStation Now. What would you do? Would you rent it?
Okay, so this is actually a discussion that Tony and I had a couple episodes back because we'd heard about the PlayStation rental service.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that we talked about was the idea of how much does one pay for a digital rental?
Right.
In my opinion, there should be a threshold. So, as an example, Dragon Age Inquisition comes out. And let's pretend that for whatever reason it's a 80-hour plus game, right? So
Probably close to it.
sure. And if the rental fee is $5 a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a guy who doesn't get that many hours to play video games. I would love to, but I don't get that chance.
Right.
But I still keep it in my rental queue. I think that there should be a threshold in which when I pay X amount of dollars to rent it, then that license becomes owned to me. So I rent it for 3 months. At some point during that 3 months, the rental agency says, you've already paid for the game. You own the fucking license for it.
I don't think that's gonna ever happen, but
No, I don't think it would ever happen. But I'm saying that there should reach a threshold where renting a game for so long, it should become property of you just because it's
Yes.
literally a digital license is being transferred to you.
Or even if you rented, okay, so you rent the game 3 times and you decide, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and buy this digitally.
Yeah.
That rental price that you've already paid should go towards the purchase price.
Yeah, most definitely, I think.
But that's
And these
living
are
in
things
a
that,
just.
the companies haven't considered yet. I think that because Sony's running into the rental market.
Mhm.
This is a market that nobody else has thought about. And I think that they're going to see a swarm of people jumping in there because you can rent a game for $1 a day.
Mhm. But it's
So,
never going to happen because we're going to be living in a dystopian future, and all they want is our money.
okay. Geez, you fucking pessimist about the whole thing. All
I'll
right,
try to
so
be optimistic.
of course, yeah, you try to be, but you failed miserably. So let's jump into the next game that I really wanted to talk about here. So Sony started their press conference with Destiny. We had so many things going on as far as Sony goes, but there was this little game called No Man's Sky,
Right.
and I had already
What?
previous. So I actually didn't watch the Sony press conference as it happened. I watched it a couple hours later. And so I'd seen an article online saying like No Man's Land was the game we've always wanted, and I'm like, haha, that's so funny. And then I watched the press conference.
Yes. There's a lot of yellow in this game.
Yes, there is. But so the premise of No Man's Land is that you're an adventurer. You start on a planet that is owned completely by you.
Hmm.
You can in first-person gun mode walk around, learn what the animals are, learn what the trees are, all that good stuff. But
From what I heard, every planet is randomly generated. So
yeah,
no two people are going to have the same gameplay.
yeah. So that's one of those things that sounds like a really, I don't
Hmm.
know. I realize that it is procedurally generated. There will definitely be planets that look similar. I understand. Um, but the idea that you kind of start in your own planet, you get to explore your own planet, and then you could hop in a ship and literally fly with no lag to another planet owned by somebody else, to another planet owned by somebody else, to an intergalactic space battle. To me, this is everything that EVE Online has always wanted to be, but actually couldn't do it.
Right. And this is a small team. This is like they said like 8 people or something like
Oh
that.
yeah, this very small team.
That is crazy just in itself.
I mean, the fact that you were watching this person in the trailers for it, and I definitely recommend going on YouTube and looking at the trailer for No Man's Land because,
Not now. Wait till after your show.
yeah, after the show, you watch somebody walk around a world in first person, hop into a spaceship, fly to a planet, see what that planet looks like, hop to another planet which looks completely different than the last one. Holy shit, it was gorgeous, it was amazing. When they came on stage for this and said we were inspired by Heinlein, we were inspired by all these different writers, I said, no, now that I've seen your trailer, I see exactly all of those things.
It's obvious. I mean, I think this game is going to be the top of many a critic's best of E3 list.
Yeah.
Just from what I've heard about it so far.
I also love the fact that one of the first things that we saw was walking through the land, and you had this brontosaurus type creature on the field. Also, you had these gazelle things running through the field, and all I could think was you literally took Jurassic Park and made it into a video game. And yet, while watching you play it, all I can think is I want to be right there playing this.
Exactly.
So I was always a big Jurassic Park's one of those movies that's so close to my heart growing up, and
Hmm.
like they did everything picture perfect. And honestly, every article I've read online, nobody's actually fucking mentioned it. But like the moment they actually go to the big dinosaur thing and pan up its neck, I was like, I'm watching Jurassic Park. All of a sudden, I'm fucking 13 again. I'm just super excited about it.
Imagine if they can make a Jurassic Park game this good.
Oh, seriously. It was absolutely gorgeous. And for being essentially an indie team, Come on now.
Yeah.
So I want to jump in from there into one of the things that
Oh, I know where you're going from here.
let's just jump right into it. If Sony had to steal the show, in my opinion, this is how they did it.
They did it, and the intro to it was simply brilliant. Was Tim Schafer?
It was gorgeous. And Grim Fandango, in my opinion, is one of the greatest video games of all time. And the
Agreed.
fact that Sony got their hands on it, got Tim Schafer to work on it, to kind of redo the whole game, to get LucasArts to agree to have it being released on the PS4 platform.
And you know who else got involved? Disney. Disney
Uh,
is involved with this
so
version.
Disney actually is involved on the project.
Yes,
Does that mean that eventually we'll get a Grim Fandango ride at Disney World?
I hope
I
so.
hope
'Cause
so.
I'm already waiting in line for that.
So yeah, for all of you adventurers out there who are not familiar with it, Grim Fandango is one of the classic LucasArts point-and-click adventure games. It is thought of as one of, honestly, the greatest games of all time. It's a noir story that takes place in the afterlife. We are playing a version of Death, or one of the Reapers, and geez, I can't talk this game up enough. And the idea that this was a game that we never thought would get a remake because it would be under so many, embargoes and everything that we didn't ever think it would be a franchise that would be brought back up. And here we
There,
are.
yeah, okay. There's a guy that I work with, and when I posted about this on Facebook that Grim Fandango was coming out on the PS4, first thing he said is, "Oh my God, I have to buy a PS4 now." It's
Mhm.
a system seller for a lot of people out there.
I think so too. And I think that if Sony can really get their hands around the LucasArts tits, as they were, if they can do that and keep releasing other old school LucasArts games, so look, as a point of
Full throttle,
perspective,
come on, full throttle.
what I love for Full Throttle, but with Project Morpheus coming out, if somebody said, "Hey, Cary, would you like to buy Project Morpheus?" and you said no, there's no good games for it right now, and they said, "Would you like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter if
Oh.
it came bundled with your Project Morpheus?"
Yes, please.
Done. Right there. And I think that getting into bed with LucasArts right now with Grim Fandango could be the lead up to something like that. I'm not saying that we're going to get X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, for the Morpheus. I'm just saying that Sony really did place their bets in the right place because Grim Fandango is a game that has a very specific audience that more and more players have been getting into over the years.
And this is a great start because, okay, Disney does own the LucasArts IP now when they bought Lucas. They own all the game rights. And they looked at their catalog and they're like, hey, what is our most popular game? And they picked the right one. Just imagine if everybody out there buys this version, imagine what else they have in their back catalog they can pull out, you know?
Day of the Tentacle.
Oh,
I mean, a remake of Maniac Mansion?
oh,
That would be amazing.
oh.
I mean, they do so many things. I mean, we've already had the minor releases from LucasArts, but I mean, if they can get into bed with with all the things that are going on right now with Star Wars, the idea that you could re-release like X-Wing, TIE Fighter,
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. Oh God, I just want TIE Fighter on Project Morpheus like glued to my face. It's one of the only flight simulators that I've ever played that
Yep.
I absolutely adore.
And I wasn't horrible at.
Yeah, exactly. I was not horrible at that.
Yeah.
So
I'm on that same page.
I want to jump on some other stuff that they kind of covered. Of course, again, Sony said that PlayStation centric only games, and we
Mm-hmm.
saw the Order 1886. Now, this was a game that was presented last year, and we all watched it. We said, "Oh, this looks really good," but when's it coming out? Now, we did hear there was going to be a delay, but having watched the trailer this year, It seems like they turned it from less into an action game into a giant survival horror game.
I agree. It feels like an actiony Resident Evil game
It feels
set
like
in the
the
1800s.
evolution of Resident Evil.
Yes,
Instead
and
of
I'm excited
just
for
being.
that.
Did you notice, and this is one of the first things that popped into my head, one of the first things we saw in the trailer this year was a character being assaulted by a pseudo zombie
Hmm.
and walking backwards and firing his gun.
Yes, and you know the first thing I saw when I saw this new trailer, this character is like Van Helsing.
Yes, he is. And the first thing I thought was shots fired. They're saying, by the way, Capcom, this is how you can walk backwards and fire a fucking weapon.
Right.
It's absolutely gorgeous. Everything that I saw about it screams, I want to play this fucking game. I mean, it's it looks like so much fun. It seems to have horror. It seems to have exploration. I mean, I'm completely down for everything the Order is going to be giving to us. Honestly,
Is this a PS4 system seller for you?
yeah. For me, yes, it is. I
Yeah.
think so. But then there's this guy,
Mr. Drake, to you, sir.
Mr. Drake, and I'm not even caught up to where this storyline is going to go. But having played the entire first game, most of the second game, even the idea that there's a fourth game coming out. And by the way, you can see what's on my screen right now. Look at those textures. It's gorgeous.
He does have nice textures.
So I feel like I'm looking at Nathan Fillion in a video game.
Don't get me started on that one, because
Yeah.
this character is definitely based on Nathan Fillion,
Oh, definitely.
no doubt about it. And it's a shame that he's not playing him in any sort of capacity.
Well, the movie hasn't been released yet, so
That's true,
give
but
that. So one of the things I'm going to give Sony is that last year, um, one of the big benefits was they had to rely on a pre-existing IP to kind of rev up their new system, and that was the Infamous series. So we had Second Son being their quintessential go-to. When Microsoft's not releasing Halo, we're releasing our big title. Here's Infamous. And now we've had Infamous. Now we're leading into Uncharted. We've also got Little Big Planet, and holy shit, Little Big Planet. I mean, this was
okay.
the, like we said, this was the year of games that you could be a developer being
Hmm.
the average Joe.
I can't get excited for Little Big Planet. I've tried.
Okay.
It's the controls are too floaty for me, I think is what it is. I need that precise Mario control.
So you're kind of on board with the Nintendo area of build a new Mario game using this touchpad.
Definitely. Oh, that I'm definitely on board for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty much down for it too. I mean, I saw some of the things that were going on with Nintendo right now, and I did watch the conferences for Nintendo today. My only problem was all the stuff they were talking about
Hmm.
was, hey, we're Nintendo releasing our normal IPs, and we hope you like them.
Okay, I can see your point. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, they did. Okay, the new Yoshi game coming out, which looked cool, or the new Mario game coming out. Yes, but they did have a couple surprises.
Okay.
Um, I'm trying to think of the name of it now. The paintball game.
So I'm not. I didn't actually watch the Nintendo press conference today.
Okay,
You're pretty much my go-to on this. Impress me with Nintendo.
I will try.
So there was a new Zelda game,
Yeah, new Zelda game that's supposed to be open world.
and
Had
we have no
really
idea if it's actually Zelda or if it's Link.
correct. Had really nice grass.
Hmm.
You have Smash Brothers, which is
Of course.
it's Smash Brothers. I mean, you can't really say too much about that. I guess I can't really impress you too much. I'm not even impressing myself right now.
Well, I
Um,
mean, like we heard that there was a new Kirby game coming out, and
New
that's the
Kirby.
thing is that I was listening to the Nintendo Direct kind of summary, and
Hmm.
everything that I got was these are Nintendo games with Nintendo characters, but I wasn't hearing that third-party support that was telling me, "Hey, bro, go out and buy a new fucking Wii U." Yeah, I want to play a Zelda game, but I want to
There's a
play.
couple of third party, but yeah, you're right. I mean, Nintendo has been that way for a while. The first party games are what is really the system sellers. They're worth your money and your time.
Yeah.
So Mario Maker, it doesn't come out till next year. A lot of the stuff will probably not come out till next year. Um, lets you create your own Super Mario Brothers style levels. Splatoon was the game I was thinking of.
Hmm.
If you watch the trailer for that, it looks pretty cool. Um, it's under the supervision of Shigeru Miyamoto, and it
Of course.
uses squirt guns to shoot ink as basically as your ammo, and you can actually, depending on the color of the ink and all that kind of stuff, you can actually you know bring your character inside the ink and use it to go underground, all this kind of cool stuff.
So Epic Disney says hello, or Epic Mickey says hello at that point.
Um, yes, pretty much.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Hyrule Warriors. I mean, is that really that big of a deal? It's Dynasty Warriors was Zelda characters. Um, yeah, okay, fine. I'm not. I'm done
Yeah,
with
these are
Nintendo.
these are all things that seem like fun on as a premise, but none of these games are saying buy me.
Right. I mean,
You know?
a new Kirby game, a new they haven't announced a new Metroid game yet, which I want an old school Metroidvania game
Oh, definitely, please.
with Wii U graphics and doesn't have to be 3D at all. 2D. Bring it all 2D.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, where we, I don't know. I feel like we're have such a reliance on the 3D engine when you could be doing really good games in 2D. It just you're not taking the time to actually fucking do it.
And what? Let's talk about these figures that Nintendo's doing. What are they called? The Amiibo. Horrible fucking name for something. It's Nintendo's take on like the Skylanders and Disney Infinity figures. And they say you can put them in certain games. You tap it on your gamepad and it'll bring Mario into your game, or it'll bring Donkey Kong into your game. But why am I going to be forced to buy these extra characters when they're already in Smash Brothers? You know what I mean?
Right.
But the rumor that I have heard earlier that if you buy like say Disney Infinity on the Wii U,
Hmm.
you can bring Mario into that game. Now that excites me.
Okay. That seems like a fun
Not
idea.
physically, but mentally.
Just mentally.
Just mentally.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things that Nintendo has been going on and on about, and I'm very happy for them to, showcase their properties. I just feel like almost every time that we watch a Nintendo showcase for E3, it is here's our Nintendo properties, enjoy them, but we have no third party support, which is the fucking crux of the market right now. Yes, Microsoft can have Gears of War. Yes, the PS4 can have Destiny or Journey or things like that. But there has to be these kind of universal games. And if you're not, there should be a point. So let's take Destiny as an example. The game comes out, and the first thing I have to ask myself, as a person who owns theoretically every platform, where are my friends playing? Well, if all my friends are playing on the Xbox 360, I'm going to go play with that.
Hmm.
If they're on the PS4, I'm going to go play with that. But Nintendo never has that option. There's never a
Right.
game coming out for the Wii U that we go, well, I probably want to play it on the Wii U because that's the only platform you can really get my friends on.
That I totally agree. The Wii U is it's a cool little system. It's not great. It's not amazing. Um, it's a little bit too little, too late with that system. But I mean, they are managed to squeeze some decent titles onto it. Like Mario Kart just came out. It's Mario Kart, but it's fun.
Of
You know
course.
what you're getting. You know what you're getting when you buy a Mario Kart game.
Hating all of your friends.
Pretty much. And you know what you're going to get when you buy a Smash Brothers game or the next Super Mario Brothers game.
Right.
You know, it's like eating comfort food, or watching your favorite movie or putting on your favorite pair of jeans. You know what I mean? You know what you're getting into, and it's just that's and I think that's where they rest on their laurels a little bit too much. They don't try to go outside their box and that's where they're failing right now, I think.
And so my opinion, just this complete theoretical thing to you,
Mhm.
is that I think that the Wii U has fallen into the GameCube space. And so we had the 64, which was successful.
Yep.
We had the GameCube, which had really good games for it, um, but wasn't that successful. And then we got the Wii, super successful. And now we've got the Wii U, not doing so hot. If Nintendo can really clamp down going to the next generation, I think that they can keep doing that trend of every other console and provide a game system that the entire market will love at
Mhm.
a reasonable price. And right now they're poised to do it really, really well because every other console's come out. They've got their price frame. They're fighting for dominance here. Whereas Nintendo can go, oh wait, this technology has already been out for like 5 years. We can come in at a cheaper rate with a higher technology and still be really good. As long as we're
Yeah,
backwards compatible with the Wii U.
right. And I was surprised they didn't have any big announcements like that. I mean, I think that's where they're losing the console wars because the name Wii U, people are like, I already have a Wii. Why do I need another Wii?
Right.
And the technology is a generation behind already. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Case in point, it has always been a generation behind. I mean, companies like EA, Bethesda, they've all been saying we can't. EA and Bethesda specifically have said we do not want to be a part of the Wii U generation, not because they want to have anything to do with Nintendo, but they've been saying our games are too high powered for this system.
Yeah. And we're not going to dissuade the Nintendo fanboys because they're out there.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
mean,
Well,
and there's a place for it, you know.
that was my first system growing up, and I'm a person that in my heart, like, I want to see Nintendo rise up and just be so badass. But I also realized when it came to 16-bit generation, I sided with the Genesis. So,
Yeah, and I
kind
don't
of
think
what,
I would. I don't think I would own a Wii U unless it was inherited.
yeah.
So, but now that I have it, I'm glad I do because there's like some games that I wanted to play, like Pikmin,
I've heard
and
that it's really fun.
Pikmin's great. I got it for free when I bought Mario Kart,
Nice.
so you can't complain about that. So, what was your big surprise of E3?
God, my big surprise of E3. Oh, yes, I do have one. So, Phantom Dust. So,
You're the Phantom Dust group, huh?
I am. So during the Microsoft press conference, there was a game that came out. There was a very short, kind of minute and a half trailer for this game that everybody sat there and went, "Hey, what is this thing?"
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching it, going, "Oh my God, I know what this is!" Because back on the original Xbox, I played Phantom Dust, and Phantom Dust is actually considered one of the. It's a cult classic. Um, it had a very hardcore group of people behind it. It's a pseudo kind of card game, fighting game kind of thing, and it's a lot of fun. And when the original Xbox retired, me and a bunch of my friends were going, "Well, that was a fun game. Nobody's ever going to remake it."
Mm-hmm.
And seeing the trailer for it at this year's E3, I was like, "Oh God, they're gonna do it!" And yeah, there was Phantom Dust, just the pseudo card game, having fun fighting game. It was a lot of fun. It was a big surprise. On par with it, I would say last year doing Steel Battalion.
Mm-hmm.
As a big mech fan, like that was the equivalent. Apparently I love like underground cult games, and Steel Battalion, Phantom Dust.
Well, a
These
lot
were
of people
games that
do.
I was really, really into. So,
I got to tell you, the game that I wasn't really surprised, but the game I'm looking forward to the most. We haven't even touched on it. Star Wars Battlefront.
So I'm gonna give that to you because seriously, Star Wars Battlefront, that's one of those games that everybody wants, but
Hmm.
we're just eagerly waiting for. I mean, like,
And apparently, it's further along than we know. Than we.
okay, so you're a big Star Wars fan, yes?
Yes, sir.
You're a big Battlefront fan, at least to a minor capacity?
Yes.
All right, so are these new Star Wars Battlefront games going to tie directly into the new continuity?
Well, apparently, none of the games are canon anymore. So
Okay.
none of the books, none of the games, none of that stuff is canonized. Only the movies.
Right,
So
but the new game hasn't been released yet, so can
right.
it be part of the canon?
Yes. No. It's a good question. Don't make my brain hurt. It's like I don't know. Um, do you think they'll have levels based on the new movie too?
I honestly would like to think that if they're putting so much time and effort into a new Battlefront game, they would be working with everybody in LucasArts
Mm-hmm.
to make it part of the new continuity because that is a very obsessive thing they're going with.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I got to say, my biggest surprise we talked about it earlier. It's Sunset Overdrive.
Hmm.
I'm so looking forward to that game. Like you said, it's like Borderlands, but as just a fun third-person action game. Crackdown. That we didn't talk about Crackdown.
Oh no, we didn't. Shit.
Oh my
Oh, that was
God.
my favorite thing about the entire fucking Xbox experience. Was fucking
My
Crackdown.
my wife is a huge Crackdown nerd, geek, nerd, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we didn't. And
I love Crackdown so
I
much.
guess we would have to be remiss. If you played, have you played Disney Infinity yet?
I have not.
It's okay, but the second edition will be Marvel superheroes.
Yeah, I
So
saw that. Hulk smash and
yes,
all that stuff.
Hulk smash. um, they're gonna have some really cool playsets coming out for that. Guardian of the Galaxy. They're gonna have a Venom character. Yeah,
You
being a
sold
Venom.
me at Venom.
Do it.
You sold me at Venom.
And it looks like it's Agent Venom too. So
Yeah, I actually need to catch up on that storyline because I've heard the Agent Venom storyline is really
mhm.
amazing.
And he's actually part of Guardian of the Galaxy right now in the comic series.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
A lot of fun. A lot of damn fun.
Okay.
So that's E3 in a nutshell, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. So we've got the big two here. We've got Sony, their presentation really focusing on their first party titles. We have a lot of independent stuff going on right now. We've also got Microsoft coming in saying hardware is not a thing. Boom, games. Now, you are a person that has the consoles. Having watched this, which of the two, the big two, do you
Uh-huh.
think is the more important?
Um, I enjoyed Microsoft more,
Mm-hmm.
but I, if I have to be honest, it's probably Sony because they actually brought out some new technology
Yeah.
and they did have some stellar games to show. But I don't know. I just thought the Sony conference was too dry, um,
Yeah.
and they could have trimmed out the fat a little bit. You know what I mean?
They could have, but I also think that Sony was introducing technology. So while you're saying that, yeah, they ran long, well, Microsoft was an hour, that
Hmm.
being just games. Good on them. That was just games for an hour. But now we're seeing Sony for an hour and a half, and an hour being games, the exact proportionate to Microsoft, and then another 30 minutes being Vita, all their new tech.
Oh, we definitely forgot to talk about Brian Michael Bendis coming out, who's one of my favorite writers, and with the
Bendis.
Powers TV series.
Yes, let's
Or
talk about
if
that.
you're a PlayStation Plus member, you get the whole series for free.
I really do appreciate the fact that they kind of went in there and said, "Hey guys, if you're a PlayStation Plus member, you get all these advantages. You get to watch the Power series, like First Go, like all these
Mm-hmm.
additional games, all that stuff."
Oh yeah, PlayStation Plus is a great service. If you don't pay the money, definitely do it because you get so many free games. And now they've changed it up so you get 2 games for each system now. So you get 2 PS4 games, you get 2 PS3 games, 2 Vita games. And if you don't have a PS4 yet, and you go on to the PlayStation website, put them on your account anyways, because when you buy your PlayStation 4, you'll be able to download them.
Oh,
So,
good
the
times.
little hint there. But yeah, Powers looks awesome. I was just waiting for like the music to play Bendis off and just okay, get him off stage because he talked for a while. But that's Brian Michael Bendis for you.
Yep, seriously. All right, so let's get into final thoughts here. So you and me, let's talk about this. For us, this is the end of E3. You've watched all the press conferences. I have watched all the press conferences. In your opinion, who was the strongest? Who was the weakest? Just break it all down.
Well, Ubisoft did have Aisha Tyler, and that's always a plus in my book. Um, I did watch a part of the Ubisoft. I did watch a little bit of the EA. I watched the EA one on my. Okay, yesterday at work. I'm gonna go on my break, my lunch break. Watch the EA press conference. As soon as they go on break, all they're showing is fucking sports games. And I was like, God dang it!
Oh, just yeah.
Oh, come on. But
I don't want to deal with
um,
that.
I gotta say, I don't know. I really like some of the stuff that Microsoft was showing. I'm excited for some of the games coming out.
Yeah,
And same with Sony, man. And I do like the way that Nintendo went a totally different direction and just did a digital, you know, display of what's coming out.
yeah.
They didn't have they're like, well, we're not gonna. They were very low key about it, you know. And their intro was damn funny. Was the Mega 64?
Hmm.
So I don't know.
All right, so given the Microsoft kind of Sony feud here,
Hmm.
um,
You're,
so
you're trying to get something out of me. I know you are.
well, I mean, honestly, you did say that you watched the Nintendo thing, and I wanted Nintendo to kind of rise above like the Phoenix and just be like taking over everything, but they couldn't this year, and so we have Sony and Microsoft, and it's just one of those things that it comes down to first party titles, really. I think at this point, in my opinion, I mean, it's one of those things that you know, Microsoft gets their Gears of War, they get their Halo, they get their everything. And on the Sony side of things, we get, Killzone and all that.
Hmm.
How do you handle these kind of first party software ideals?
Well, I got Sony has some amazing first party games. Last of Us is being remastered. We didn't touch about that. If
Yeah,
you haven't played The Last of Us yet, you must play that game.
I'm that guy.
You're that guy. God damn it. You got to play that game.
I actually had to skip over the sequence they had this week because I was like, don't want to know what's going on.
Yeah, they did have that. They had this thing before, and it says this trailer
Honestly,
may
thank
contain
God for
spoilers.
Sony saying like spoilers for this thing.
Yes, I wish movie trailers would do that. Um, but yeah, Last of Us remastered, Uncharted, beautiful, beautiful games. I cannot wait to play those games. Microsoft, you got your Halos, you got your, in my opinion, Dead Rising. That the new Dead Rising DLC is, and I love how they're like, the trailer is like available soon. No, wait a minute, available now. Perfect. I wish
Capcom has it on lockdown.
it is such Capcom fan service. You just cannot believe how great it is.
I
Yeah.
was talking to one of our friends recently about the trailer for that.
Hmm.
I said there comes a point where if a meme makes fun of itself, you can no longer have that meme.
Right.
And so the idea was that so let's rewind back about 5 years ago. There was during the Thanksgiving Day parade that Rick Astley actually rickrolled people during that.
Yeah,
They were like, that's no longer funny because he actually made fun of himself. And
right.
that's what I felt when I was watching the trailer for the Dead Rising thing, the Dead Rising game. The idea that Capcom literally made fun of themselves, saying like Dead Rising EX34 doing this and that and that. And I was like, well, we can't really make fun of them anymore.
No,
Good times.
it's a lot of fun, dude.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch. It's an arcade style game. It's totally different style than the regular Dead Rising 3 game, but you're still going around like fighting zombies, you know.
Oh yeah.
So it's Dead Rising 3 Super Ultra Arcade Remix Hyper Edition EX Plus Alpha. Right there. You're going through levels dressed up as like okay, the level I played, I was Frank West wearing a big servobot head, and there was Street Fighter music everywhere.
Oh, good times.
Okay, I mean, like I said, it's a $10 DLC. You do have to have Dead Rising 3 to play it, but if you are a Capcom fan, and you would definitely get a kick out of this game.
Most definitely. I love the fact that Capcom was willing to make fun of themselves the entire fucking experience,
Oh
seriously.
yeah, it's there's nothing. Yeah, there's. I mean, it's not just. It's like playing Marvel vs. Capcom when they had all the little tributes to the old games.
That
It's
is
all in
true.
here. It's all in here, dude. All in here.
Absolutely love it. So this is the for us, like as part of the media, this is the end of E3. What did you love? What did you hate? I mean, going back and forth.
Well, as of the recording, it's still a couple of days left for the show floor, so there's still announcements to be made because
Yeah.
they don't blow their load right in the beginning. They wait a couple of days for some of the big announcements. Um, yeah, what sucks about E3 is I had to leave California the day before it started, so that's my biggest
You were
disappointment.
actually right there in the middle of
I was
E3.
I
Having
was
a
right there, dude. I left Sunday from LA and it started Monday. Come on. But yeah, this past 3 years has been like that. But we're not going to go there because it's a not in my control that I had to leave. You know what I mean? I was kicked out of the state. What was your favorite part of the whole E3
Ah,
circuit?
gee. I mean, there was a lot going on. And honestly, I think that watching Microsoft kind of backtrack on all of their promises, most people would say, "Oh God, fuck Microsoft." But no, watching them cater to the gamers was so important to me. Like the fact that I get to watch, here's all these games that are multiplayer centric and do this, do that, do that. I was super excited for.
You know what I
And
like? You know what I loved about the Microsoft conference is they did not play up the fact, hey, if you want to buy a Connect, an Xbox One without a Connect, it's available now. They didn't really play that up at all. They just
yeah,
okay, you can go do that if you want. And like Sony would have been like, oh look, we have this brand new. No, they realized their mistake and they sort of like swept it under the rug a little bit and
yeah,
say, hey, we have two versions of the Xbox One you can buy now.
yeah.
One's
Good on
connect,
them for that.
one's connectless, and one has one.
All right, so end of E3. Um, I watched some of the stuff that Nintendo did, and I'm a giant Nintendo fan, but it didn't live up to everything that Sony and Microsoft has done at this
No,
point.
agreed.
And so
I
here
don't
we
think it ever
are.
can.
Yeah, pretty much. And so we have to ask ourselves is that, we have two consoles at this point. And in my opinion, I think that with the exception of the brands,
Hmm.
Gears of War, um, Infamous. These are the games that are going to define the console generation. It's really going to come down to what do you like, what do you not like, because for the most part, aside from Nintendo, the graphics, fidelity, and all this stuff, they're going to be the exact same fucking thing.
Yeah. It doesn't fucking matter at the end of the day. It's what games you're excited to play and what you want to play. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, like we talked about before, both games are going to have the same. There's some games that are going to be on both systems.
hmm
And
Most of them, like 90% of them.
yes, and the graphical comparison is so minute. You know, it's okay. I have an Xbox One or I have a PS4. It
hmm
doesn't matter which system I buy the game on. And if you're like me, and I know one of our mutual friends, if you're an achievement junkie or
Our friend.
achievement whore, yeah, you know exactly which one you're going to pick.
So it's one of those things that, so from me to you, neither of us are giant achievement trophy junkies.
A little
What
bit.
again? Let's pretend for a minute that you actually don't have the new modern systems. Based on all the things that have happened this year at E3, between Sony and Microsoft, what is the one system that says "fucking play me"?
All right, fine. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say PS4
Yeah.
because it is, in all intents and purposes, it is a little bit of a superior system. But having said that, I tend to play my Xbox One more.
Until Kingdom Hearts comes out.
Well, Kingdom Hearts is coming out on both systems, so that's going to be a difficult decision to make. Where the hell was Kingdom Hearts? No, I know Square Enix said that we're not going to announce it or do anything, but come on, give us a little something. Tease
No,
us a
they
little
went
bit.
ahead and just got like 5 seconds of Kingdom Hearts.
If that, no, that's not enough. Give me a bigger tease. Come on. I know we have 2.5 to look forward to, but
All right, gang, that's everything that we have for our show this week. Thank you very much for Cary. Seriously, like don't even know how to deal with not having a host at this point.
he'll be back. So definitely thank you for letting me come on your show, man.
Yeah.
Um,
Final opinions about E3, by the way.
yes.
Okay, just shoot them towards me, like Nintendo, Sony, everything. Who
Um,
who do you think won the entire system battle?
um, I've got to say Sony at
Really?
this point. Yeah, they even though their press conferences wasn't as good, I think some of the games were a little bit better. But I don't know that Sunset Overdrive.
Specifically, which games do you think was better?
Well, they teased me with Uncharted, and that's all they had to do. Pretty much.
Like one game? Seriously?
Maybe. But they did spend too much time on the Call of Duty. I will say that they could have really cut down the
Really?
time on that one. You don't think so?
I think Microsoft was like,
Maybe. Now you're confusing me.
oh, good on me. All right, guys. Thank you, all of you, for all of your adventures out there dealing with all of our random bullshit.
That's
Yeah,
right.
this is E3. I mean, seriously, I don't know. This is one of the really close race E3s for me. I mean, we have Microsoft doing their thing and not promoting their TV systems. We've got the PS4 system, which seems amazing, but not everybody's down for that whole thing. I don't
And then
know.
there's Nintendo
And there's
following the
Nintendo.
pack.
Yeah, good Nintendo. Yeah,
Keep on making your
just,
Mario games. You'll be
just
all right.
keep on doing your games. Yeah, honestly, watching the Zelda trailer this week, I was super excited because I'm a kid who was raised on Zelda. And then post watching it, I went, huh, yep,
I
I
think we've grown up, is what it is.
think it is too, yeah.
Our childhood is dead.
Except that you and I both love Kingdom Hearts.
Yep,
That's literally our childhood.
yep. Mixed together in one beautiful package.
Everything is better down where it's wetter.
Take it from me.
Yeah, seriously, you're the man who knows.
I was just on that ride actually, like a couple days ago.
Ah,
It was better down where it was wetter.
I think that we're in for a big, giant, amazing ride when it comes to superheroes and like Disney stuff. Just in the meantime, we have to deal with stupid things.
Think of the possibilities. Kingdom Hearts 3 will have Marvel and Star Wars based levels now. Just imagine. Yeah. I'll leave you on that thought.
If Capcom can show up and like all the Capcom characters are a part of the fight, good to go.
That's
All
right.
right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap this entire thing up. Thank you very much. I am James from thesurlynerd.com. Sir, big plug for yourself. Go ahead.
My name is Cary G, and I am one of the co-hosts of both MSRcast and the Metal Geeks podcast, where we geek out on heavy metal and video games and comic books and all kinds of geekery. You can find us everywhere on the internet. You can especially find us at www.metalgeeks.net, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Look for us on iTunes as well, and subscribe and like. That's your job.
All right, Carrie, thank you so much for coming on here this week. This has been a giant, exhausting week for all of us nerds
That's right.
trying to get through the entire experience of E3. Thank you very much. And thank you very much to all of our adventurers out there who have been liking, sharing us, and being part of our community. So, guys, good night and good game.
Good game to you, sir.